Isn't this a great setup? Who wouldn't want a garden way up high like this to save your back, your knees, whatever? I'm Suzanne, I'm a horticulturist here at Rogers Gardens, and today we're going to be discussing planting your Vegepod for fall and winter vegetables. And the thing about the Vegepod, which we have here at Rogers, I believe this is a small, it might be a medium, but Vegepods are raised up. You can buy them with the stand. I don't know if, can you see the stand down there, Marissa? Mm-hmm. Okay, so there is a stand. The Vegepods come like this, and you can buy the stand, or you can buy a stand with rollers so that you can move it around in your garden. But this is amazing because it brings the garden up to you, and it's a lot easier to keep an eye on your vegetables and your flowers, whatever you want to grow in here. It does come with a big lid that you can put on top of it if you're starting seeds or something, just to keep the birds and everything away from your vegetables and little seedlings. But today we're going to be discussing vegetable starts, so that's anything that's already grown. We have here our late season tomato. You may have heard Sarah last week discuss, this is kind of like your last chance to put some tomatoes in for this year. These are cool season tomatoes. This is Stupicia. It's one of my personal favorites because it is a steady Eddie as far as a tomato goes. It just keeps producing nice little breakfast-sized tomatoes forever. And so anyway, we're gonna put that one over there. When you're planting your Vegepod, you wanna start with the tall in the back and move to shorter in the front. And right now, it's still a little bit warm. So if you live in a place that is exceptionally warm, I would hold off on this for just a little while, except for the tomato and the herbs. But some of these vegetables, they just don't do very well in super hot sun. What happens is they bolt. And bolting is when something like a lettuce or a broccoli or a cauliflower, when they get too hot too fast, they just flower. And so it's just too big of a growth rate for us to keep under, under this condition. And so that's why we don't usually grow lettuce in the summer. It's just too hot. And so here at the coast, we can grow lettuce like in a little morning sun area because they really like the heat. They just don't like the bright sun. So lettuce is a great thing to grow in the winter. Spinach, kale. I did have a kale plant here. I don't know what happened to it, but it's gone. But any of these, leafy greens are great for cooler weather. So you don't have to think about it always being in the summer. So you can grow romaine, you can grow kale, you can grow all sorts of arugula and spinach and everything. It's a perfect time now that the weather is cooling. It may seem like it's very hot during the day, but the days are shorter and the nights are cooler. So it is okay if you're not living or have your Vegepod or veggie area in a super, super hot area. If you do, maybe put like an umbrella up over it in the afternoon. But what I'm going to show you is we have actually I'm going to pop over to the other side. We have this tomato, and it is, as I said, it's Stupicia, and it is a Eastern European variety of tomato. It's from, I believe it's from the Czech Republic. But you can see this is a nice big full tomato. It's got some flowers on it, so you want to make sure when you're planting this to plant it nice and deep. You can plant it deeper than what you see here. Almost every other plant, you're going to plant it just even with the soil right here. But with tomatoes, because they can form roots on the side of, on their stems, you can actually plant tomatoes deeper as long as it's kind of younger. This tomato here is pretty established, so we don't need to plant it too deep, but we're gonna put it in there. By the way, I wanna say hi to Kelly. Kelly was here at Rogers the other day with her daughters, and she made my day by saying nice things to me. So by the way, I totally forgot. Hi, Kelly. Thank you so much for making my day. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have this tomato, and I'm gonna plant it fairly even with the soil here. We'll put a little bit more around it. Tomatoes get pretty large. That's why you want to put it kind of in the back. I would probably put a cage on this, or at least my favorite thing, I'm not really a huge fan of the small kind of wobbly tomato cages. I like putting a big stake here and then just training the tomato up. So you can do that. You can keep it pinched back a little bit for the winter, but always remember with tomatoes and vegetables that you might really, really like, keep that name stick right near it, because inevitably you're going to forget what the name of the tomato is. And everybody's going to ask you, oh my gosh, this is so delicious. What should I plant? And you're going to say Stupicia. With tomatoes also, most vegetables will, because they're so delicious, will or might get little worms or caterpillars on them. This is not going to be a beautiful butterfly. This is going to be a beautiful moth. It's going to be like a sphinx moth, but most people don't want them on their vegetables. So I would give them a little spray of this BT when you're planting it, just to kind of get it started well. And then maybe every couple of weeks. BT usually kind of goes away when the sun hits it or when water hits it, but it'll stay on there pretty well. So it's one of the few things I would say use it as a preventative measure, because vegetables are just, you know, they're so precious and delicate, and it gets kind of weird if you have an infestation and you can't really get ahead of it. Get ahead of it with BT. Another great thing about this Vegepod is because it's raised up, you are going to be able to see what's going on with your vegetables better. So having that BT, having it raised up is going to be a great thing for you to look and see. I can see right here, this lettuce has a little teeny hole in it. It could be from like a slug, it could be from a worm. I'm guessing that's from a slug. But just keep an eye on your vegetables. A lot of times people think, oh, I'm going to plant it and I'm going to walk out there once a week and then I'm just going to harvest everything. But vegetable gardens are a little bit of work. They're fun, it's relaxing, it's therapeutic. It's so nice to grow your own vegetables and feel so proud of yourself. You probably will not be able to grow enough here for, you know, a lifetime. But if you, for example, if you planted like half lettuce and half herbs, you will have enough for you every week. You're going to plant lettuce maybe every 2 weeks and just keep harvesting it. It's going to be great to bring it in and enjoy your salads with your, maybe like an herb vinaigrette or something. And another kind of a, not a preventative, but a pre idea that you might want to put in your head. It's September 8th today, right? Thanksgiving is coming. I believe like you can never be too prepared for Thanksgiving, especially when it comes to herbs. I am constantly starting my Thanksgiving meal and going, oh my gosh, I don't have any. And then it's like, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Those are your Thanksgiving herbs. So look, we have parsley, we have sage, we have rosemary, and we have thyme. Put those in. Those are going to grow year round, and you can kind of move your vegetables around them. They are such useful herbs. Rosemary is probably the most used one in most cooks, you know, like if you throw it in with your potatoes or in vinaigrettes and things like that. That is going to be super, super good. So plant your herbs now. Be ready for Thanksgiving. Have the most amazing dressing and gravies and things like that with your own fresh grown herbs. So I'm going to kind of plant a few more here. I've got some cilantro. Cilantro is another one of those herbs that actually does better in cooler weather than in the hot, hot summer because it won't bolt. If you said, oh my gosh, you know, for my salsa, my cilantro is always bolting, it's because it's kind of an artificial thing. Salsa in the summertime, yes, you'll have your tomatoes and you'll have your chilies, but it's really, really hot for cilantro. So look, just plant a bunch of it and you can keep these off to the side or give them to your neighbors, but have enough so that you can make yourself some serious, some salsa, or make some, make a really cool cilantro pesto. You can do all sorts of things with all these herbs. You can have your parsley, you can make tabbouleh, but parsley is one of those really big Thanksgiving herbs as well, because at least I do. I put it in my dressing. And if we had had some celery to plant here today, I would be planting celery because celery is also a great Thanksgiving herb. So we've got that. And then, okay, for your cool season vegetables, we have broccoli, we have cauliflower, and we have Brussels sprouts. Now, broccoli could grow in here. You could probably get 6 broccoli plants in here. They get a lot bigger than you think, a little wider. But in a veggie pod, because you're constantly kind of like, you're gonna turn and burn with your vegetables here, plant a lot. Plant it close together. Don't worry about it being too cramped because you can always amend the soil later. But plant as much as you need and get it in there and start growing it as soon as you can, as long as the weather is cool enough. So there's that. Do we have any questions, Marissa?
Yes, we do.
Oh boy.
The first question is, how much for the actual Vegepod station?
Oh my gosh. Sarah, how much are the veggie pods? We're gonna have Sarah. The stand is 79.
No, sorry. The stand is
Oh, sorry.
89.
89. But that's without
Hi, the
wheels.
stand is 89 without wheels. And this size veggie pod is 289.
289. That's okay. And then I think there's a smaller one that's like
There's
199. And then there's a bigger one that's a double. It's a double of the smaller one. And it's like 3 something. Yeah, and they all come with the little the netting that actually you can hook into your hose, and so you can keep those seedlings misted.
Okay. The other question is, what type of soil are you using currently in the Vegepod?
So we have a mixture of regular potting soil, and then we put in some Malibu, the Baby Boo's potting soil, because it has a lot of extra goodness. It has that Malibu compost in it, which has worm castings, and you know, I don't know if anybody's tired of us talking about worm castings, but I will never tire of talking about them. Worm castings forever. Sarah's raising her arms up over there. Yes, worm castings. Use that, and then when you're fertilizing, again, you can use that Malibu, the compost tea. Use that to fertilize this, to spray on the leaves of the plants. It's just such a great foliar fertilizer as well. Just stick with Malibu and John and Bob's. But if you need to switch it out, take some out and put that Malibu potting soil in here. I recommend it mainly for vegetables because it is so filled with goodness, and if you're gonna have these organically grown by you vegetables, Malibu is just the best. You wanna have the best for your vegetables and for you.
All right, well, that seems to be all the questions for today. Thank you, Suzanne.
You're welcome. Thank you, Marissa. If you have any questions about this, just send them in. Don't forget, if you have any topics you'd like Sarah or I to talk about, just send those in as well. And don't forget rogersgardens.com. We have online shopping. You can shop here in store. Our Halloween extravaganza is open right now. And we have YouTube, we have Pinterest, we have Facebook, we have everything. Just go there, subscribe, and then we will see you on Thursday for our next live tomorrow.